Ladies and gents, folks of the YouTube, welcome back. So, we are going to have a busy weekend trying to get some stuff done and get caught up on next week because the holiday is right around the corner. So, yeah, that Arctic Cat 400, I'd like to get that thing running. And last night, I took a little trip because I got a really good lead on 2002 Triumph Bonneville in Robin Egg Blue. This is a really cool bike, and it's a perfect candidate for a little custom bike project. I'm not sure which way we're going to go with this thing yet. It's been sitting since 2012 is the last year that it was registered. So that's a bummer, but you know, it is what it is. We kind of specialize in rescuing bikes just like this, so we're going to first I want to get it running before we do anything and figure out which way we're going to go with it. But I'm thinking either like a kind of like a brat style bike with inverted front end, maybe a scrambler would be fun, and throw knobbies on it, and a high pipe and all that. I don't know, so let me know in the comments what you think we should do with this. It's going to be a couple weeks before we even get to it. I just, the front tire's flat, so before I can unload it, we're going to throw some air in it and then we'll unload it. I need to wash the quad before we start working on that, so I guess we'll wash both of these. As you can see, she's got a moss problem. She's growing moss. But, yeah, she's got a fair bit of corrosion on it. Perfect excuse to, you know, use the new vapor honer or, you know, clean stuff up and powder coat it black or something cool like that. But yeah, front tire is flat, so we'll air this thing up and get it out of the truck. And then the old 400 here, this thing is filthy, so we're going to wash it, and then it needs a stator apparently, so we'll dig into that. Start charging the battery. The battery actually had a tiny bit of life, not enough to turn the engine over, but the neutral light came on. So I'll throw it on the charger. If we can save the battery, we'll save it. But normally these batteries and quads and dirt bikes, once they're dead, they're pretty much dead. So yeah, we have our work cut out for us this weekend, and hopefully we can knock this stuff out in a timely manner. These goofballs always playing, huh? Aw, Thor. You don't have to put up with Uno's crap. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, you guys playing nice? Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is one of those bikes that is just filled with spider webs. So many spider webs. And that's a spider nest down there. That looks not fun. Oh my goodness. Another thing that I'm going to miss about working from home is having my unloading dock. So I'm thinking we're going to have to either build something at the new shop or just have an outside lift that like will lift up, because it makes it way easier to unload bikes. Oh, that's awesome. And the brakes are froze on this thing too. Ugh. Oh my goodness. I think the brakes are really froze up right now. All right. Take it for a little glide. Oh, the back brakes still work. Front brakes, totally locked. Well, not totally, but definitely sticking. It is a cute little bike though, that's for sure. All right, now that she's out of the truck and I took the silly tank bra off of it, you can kind of see what we got going on here. Looks exactly like you'd expect from a bike that's been sitting outside. Now, mind you, it's been sitting outside in California, so it's a little different than if it was in Wisconsin or something, but come on. The tank here has a little dent. That's like the main damage. And the previous owner, which is the original owner of this bike, told me that that happened on the test ride. He dropped the bike, so he ended up buying it anyways, and still loving it and you know, putting 20,000 miles, or I don't know how many miles it's got, but he ended up riding the heck out of it, and then getting himself a BMW. I think he said K1200, something like that. So this thing just sat outside of a garage in Palo Alto, California, which is one of the hoity-toity places on the peninsula where all the rich people live. But yeah, you can see, you know, she's got the corrosions. I'm excited to see it though after the power wash. Same with this turkey. This turkey right here is dirty and gross and has a mouse nests, and I'm not super stoked on that, but we'll do what we got to do. Well, never underestimate the power of a good bath. This motorcycle is in way better condition than I thought it was going to be. I can't even believe how good the paint looks. And all I did was power wash this thing. Little Comet, little Simple Green. But I didn't, you know, try to buff anything out or go too crazy on it, because we'll probably take stuff apart. But I just cannot believe how nice it is after I washed it. I thought the aluminum would be way worse. It just had a lot of sap on it, I guess. But the engine looks really good. As far as, it's not really stained, and I think it'll all clean up, you know, once we take the bike apart. But it is to a point where we could work on it, as far as I don't think a spider will crawl out and bite me. Yeah, so Friday, dealing with traffic and all that good stuff as far as going to the peninsula was definitely worth it, because this bike is pretty darn nice, and I am super happy about it. And I could stand around and stare at it all afternoon, but got more work to do. So after getting this thing cleaned up and cleaning out the headlight here, it looks like it's broken big time on the inside, and I don't know if that's how the mouse got in there or what, but I want to take the body work off of this thing, at least this front crap. So I'm going to have to get the tank off and all that probably to get to the carburetor. The stator and everything's right here. Electrical wise, they got something going on here that I don't like. That doesn't look factory. So I don't know what that's for. And honestly, there's nothing clear, like aftermarket wise. So I'm really not sure what they got tied in there. It could be for the fan, I don't know. I guess we'll just keep digging. Alright guys, we're gonna change gears because the mail lady just showed up with Uncle Randy's carburetor. So I'd like to throw this thing on here, and if it runs and whatnot, we'll finish putting it back together. Before we did hear it run, it didn't run good, but it did run. So before I install this carburetor, we're going to take it apart, and screws like this, I'll put a little bit of Loctite on those bad boys, so we don't have those things coming out again, because that almost destroyed it the last time it had a Chinese carburetor. All right, the doctor's in session here. We got the IV hooked up, put the new carburetor on, and I just want to fire it up and hear it run and see if it'll run decently like this. So we'll give it a go, and hopefully I don't have to pull it 10,000 times. All right, so it's running. Sounds pretty good. Take the choke off. Oop. Well, it doesn't want to run with the choke off. I'm thinking about inventing a machine that does the pull start, because this sucks. Well, I thought I was going to be able to knock the quad out this weekend, but unfortunately, the store's closed that I was going to buy the oil filter from. So I have it on the charger, and we'll just knock that out Monday. But RM370. So last video I told you guys about the broken bosses on the cases. These are the good cases that we're going to use, and I'm just getting everything prepped for paint. We're pretty much there. I just want to clean it, and then I'm actually going to put some bolts in it. I'm going to paint these cases together because it just seems easier to paint them together than paint them separate. So yeah, I don't know, that's the plan. We'll go from there. Oh yeah, this cover here is about ready, but we need to take some JB Weld and kind of build this up and smooth it out. And that's going to be a real pain in the butt to get it to look perfect, but we're going to do that. And this cover is about ready. I just need to wet sand it with some 220. And not that it's super crucial on this one because it's already been TIG welded. The JB Weld is a little bit more for a cosmetic fix on this. But the 24 hours has a lot higher strength rating. So for anything like, I don't know, important like this, normally I'll use the 24 hours to just kind of make sure it's extra strong. Never had an issue though. All right, let's have a little JB Weld party. So we're just gonna do a little bit of mixing here, and that should be about good for the old mixtures. Stay in there, you sons of gun. And we got our old shish kebab stick here to just mix it up real good. Oh yeah, that smells just nice and wonderful. So, without making too much of a mess, let's try to just globber on there. And I'll come back through and smooth it out. First, we gotta glob it. And we'll dig through here. Oh, perfect. Oh yeah, we'll just make our own. Perfect. I'm just going to come on through here and just gently drag her along. All right, we all know that it has to be warm to paint, and well, trying to paint in the shop here. So I got the wood pellet stove going full blast. Uno can hardly stay awake. The fan just blowing all the air down into the shop, hopefully, and we're getting her warmed up. We're already up to 58 degrees, which hopefully once we hit 60, we'll be totally fine to paint. But here's the cases, and I'm going to mask everything off and just finish cleaning everything up. But we're down to metal and everything looks good, and I think they're gonna just soak up the paint real well. All right, guys, well, I didn't do a lot of filming while I was painting because painting is stressful, and yeah. But, man, semi-gloss looks really good on these cases. And because of the temperatures, I was using the oven over there to pre-bake it, and it seemed to work out really well. I just put the last coat on, so we'll let this cure for a couple days and then proceed to put the transmission and the crank and all that in. In the meantime, we got to do a little bit of work to the cylinder. Well, our JB Weld Bondo action is getting nice and hard, so I'll start sanding on that pretty soon. But last night was a super late night of painting, and thankfully we got the cases done, and I think they look pretty damn good. Pretty happy with how they turned out. Good coverage. The color is extremely close to the factory finish. So, heck, what more could I ask? So yeah, like I was saying, super late night last night, but we got her done. Tons of work this weekend. came to some conclusions. The DVX 400, there's more wrong with it than the guy thought. He thought it needed a stator. The starter doesn't work either. So I called him up and he goes, oh yeah, the starter's never really worked. So yeah, and he had a new one put in, and then it does this. Very confusing, so we're going to dive into that next video. Uncle Randy's 185, it started, it ran for a minute or two, and it wouldn't start again. And I didn't mess with it too much after that because my arm was sick of pulling that damn thing. But yeah, pretty productive weekend. Got a lot of work done. Still got a lot of work to do. Hopefully over the next couple days, we'll finish up this RM370 motor and move on to other projects and get started moving and prepping the new shop. The new shop needs a ton of work too. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.